Right, Happy New Year to everybody. This will be my first kit of 2020. This kit I bought from the Model Fair, Scale Model World in Telford in November last year. The trouble is, this kit most recently, and probably the last year or so, has been really expensive. It's been 50 quid plus. The cheapest I saw it was 50 quid. But then it went up to about 60, then it even went up to 70 or 80 pounds. But luckily from the Scale Model World, this kit only cost me 40 quid. Now this is a companion kit to one I did about 5 years ago for the wife, and I'm well chuffed that I finally got my hands on it, and it was only 40 quid. So here's the next model. Well, going over to the chest freezer, it is the Grandpa Munster from Moebius. Box art's really nice actually, not too bad at all. So just going around the box and then going on the back, and as you can see, that's what it could look like when it's finished. Really, like I said, authentic likeness of Al Lewis, which was from the black and white show. And you can also see, you know, the companion kits. You know, I've done Herman, and you know, I've done the Munster House, and I'm really, like I said, this is going to be really well. I'm really well chuffed that I've managed to get this kit so cheap, and I can't wait to see what it's going to look like on the shelf with a Herman that I've already done. So I put in the box to one side. Here's all the sprues, all in the bags, so it's brand new and sealed. I'll just pause this and I'll get the parts out the bags. Right, getting the parts out of the bags, I'll go on to this first sprue here, which is mainly his arms. You've got the front and rear of the head. It's not looking too bad actually. It's moulded in like a light greyish tan plastic, which is pretty much what Herman was mounted in. So that's the one sprue. Then you've got his hands there, feet, some Tesla coils for the actual electrical cabinet. You got his front and back of his upper torso. Detail's actually quite nice. I'm liking the lanyard with the actual medal or whatever that is on his chest, and his waistcoat, not too bad at all. You got the back to the waistcoat, if I can pick it up, as you can see. You got the front part of his trousers, rear part of his trousers. Then you've got the actual base itself, not looking too bad, and the actual electrical cabinet. And the detail on this is really good, not bad at all. I don't know how I'm going to pick that out. I'll have to get my fine detailing brush out. The only thing I don't like about this, there's no back on it. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to try and figure a way to put it. I mean, I've got some sheet plastic so I can put a back on that. Shouldn't be a problem. And then folding out the instructions. So let's have a look. Should be straightforward, to be honest, pretty much like Herman was. Yeah, it looks fairly straightforward, to be honest. Not looking too bad. You get an extra cable, the vinyl cable, which is in the box, but I kept the one from Herman. I'm not sure if I kept them collars though. I'm not sure if I did. But hopefully there should be some in this kit with any luck. And then you finally got the paint guide, and it's very vague. But I think I've got my only problem is going to be his facial features, because he's got gloves on. So I'm only going to really have to do his facial features. So I'm going to have to figure out this pale blue-green cobblers. But I've still got the paint that I had from doing Herman, so hopefully I can mix some of that with the blue. But to be honest, not looking too bad. Well, there it is. Let's get cracking on. Right, I've started construction on Grandpa, and it's pretty much half and half all the way down his body and his head. So I'll start with the plans. you glue the front and the rear of the head together. You glue the front and the rear of his upper torso, front and rear of his trousers, each side of his boots, 2 halves, and then you've got 2 halves for each hand. And then finally you've got the 2 halves of each arm. Then once all that done, it tells you to glue each bit of the body section together. So as you can see, I've done all the gluing together. Basically, I just glued every bit of the half together to make the whole piece, and then I just wrapped some of my electrical tape round and just let it overnight to dry. Now I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up, but on the inside leg there you can see there's a bit of a seam. On the outside of the leg it actually blends into that lip on the side of his trousers, so that's not too bad. On his torso, upper torso, you can see a bit of a seam there on the bottom, and on the shoulder there, and on the other side. Each side of his shoe, on the second one as well, you see there's a seam. Same on the arm. The hand piece, it tells you to glue, the one hand piece actually has the handle moulded into the hand, and then just glue the other one in, but again there's a seam issue there. And on his closed hand, and on his head, I'm quite surprised there is a seam actually. You've got one round the hairline. If I can get the bloody camera to focus, and continues all the way down the side of his hairline past his ear, and on that side as well. On Herman, the seam weren't too bad, to be honest, but on Grandpa it's very visible indeed, so I'm going to have to do some very fine sanding. But construction is pretty much done on Grandpa anyway. Right, continuing on with Grandpa, what I've had to do is I've had to primer all the parts separately, because there's going to be nooks and crannies where it's going to be visible, and if I try and get some paint in there once I've glued all this together, it's going to prove a pain in the arse. So as you can see, I've primed and white for the chest area there, because his shirt's going to be white, so I'm going to be painting on top of the white with the red and the medallion and that, so I thought it was better if I did it in the white. You can see the primers on the back there. I used a combination of electrical tape, especially on the arm there. You can see the arm socket, and you can see where I've primed, because like I said, certain parts, that area there is going to be a little bit visible once I put the waist in. With the Grandpa, you can see primer on the back and white on the front, because I'm going to be painting the blue on his facial features onto the white. With that there, with that T-piece where it goes into the neck, I used, I couldn't tape it to mask it off, so what I did is I just got a bit of blue tack, and you can see all the bits that I've took off there, because you can see on that arm socket there, I couldn't tape it, the tape kept lifted, so I just put some blue tack on as a masking alternative, and to be honest, it didn't come out too bad. You can see that I've taped that bit there, I haven't took that off yet, but generally all the pieces are looking really nice, all primed, so that's where I'm sitting at the moment. Right, welcome back. I've been working on Grandpa. I've painted all the figure bits, as you can see. I've also done his head with my blue mixture for his facial features, skin tone. I'll explain this a bit more once I've put him all together. But I'm just getting the electrical cabinet and the base ready. I'll start on the electrical cabinet. There's not much construction, to be honest, for this. It's just the Tesla coils, and then the actual hand with the handle that will be glued on in final construction. Now the Tesla coils are two halves. Going to the plans, you got two number 70s and two number 69s. So you glue one of each together to make the Tesla coil. And then what I did is I just wrapped some tape around to hold them together while the glue dried. Once the glue dried, I just took the tape off and then just did a bit of seam work on each side where the two halves meet, and then mounted them onto the top of the electrical cabinet. Now on the top of the electrical cabinet you've got two mounting pegs. You've got one there and one there. And on the Tesla coils underneath you've got a little mounting hole. So you just run your glue around in a circle and just pop those on. And I just left it standing up like this, so I let gravity do it work, because I couldn't really tape it, to be honest. Once it dried an absolute treat. Now if you remember from the first video where I done my kit review, I told you that I didn't like the way this was open backed and there wasn't no cover for the back of the electrical cabinet. So what I've done is I've just got a bit of sheet plastic and just cut them into little dinky squares and glued them in 1 mil below the top edge of the cabinet. I've gone all the way around. Just glued those in, let the glue dry. While I was letting the glue dry, I then cut a sheet out. I measured it widthways and lengthways, and then I can just pop that in there like that, and it'll support it. Also, on the bottom of the electrical cabinet, I've actually put some masking tape on, and on the base there, so I can glue it bare past the bare plastic. I've also popped a little blue tack in all the mounting holes to mask those off, so this is now ready for primer.